let's go ahead and take
Yeah,
Wizard
we kind of went a little long with the nonsense.
I mean, we're talking about dogs, so...
It's true. Dogs are nonsense, yes.
Did somebody just draw a hexagon over here? Or is there
Where?
right here? Or is that like a shadow or something?
I don't see anything. That's a shadow.
Somebody put
a die.
Oh,
There's a die
goddamn
floating.
die.
Well,
Oh god, it's
So,
like...
physics are broken, but that's a 20. I want to use that 20.
Yeah,
My next roll.
do I have to... I don't have to guess too hard at who did this, I'm sure.
Oh, there we go.
Anyway,
I don't know what you're trying to imply.
did you guys think of a plan?
So,
We come up with a plan.
here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
We have this Rolf guy, and he was talking with the rat people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
You said you had a plan, though.
Do you want us to talk to the rat people?
yeah, I think that's a avenue worth exploring.
They only speak their own language, as far as anybody knows.
Hmm.
And how does Rolf communicate with them?
Rolf
He
speaks
speaks
that
the
language.
Yeah.
Mm.
We could get him to interpret. That's weird.
How does Noakes communicate with them?
By being very loud and pointing. I mean, they know their duties well enough. They don't need a whole lot of direction. They keep to themselves. They don't cause a lot of trouble.
I mean, as far as I can tell, the rat folk isn't like a lead. The only thing that went wrong was the harp broken, and them telling ahead of time doesn't point to that at all. Like, he wasn't told, oh, this time the mermaids will actually attack us.
Yeah, I don't think that checks out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I think we're kind of like at an impasse here, because he says he did a thing. He did do the thing. We think it could be Runethiel, but we also aren't certain, and we don't know how she did it. So basically, from this, what we take is it might be Runethiel, and we just watch out from here on.
This man is also desperately trying to save his own skin.
Well, we
So
go
he could
talk to the
say
captain.
anything.
We passed on what info we got,
Mhm.
and we just watch Runethiel from now on.
He's such a schmuck though. Like we're just gonna kill this poor schmuck. Like,
And he begins kind of weeping once again.
see, there's
I mean, Adrex, can you think of any way to get him out of being killed for this? Because I can't.
no one on this ship agrees with me anyway that there's more you can get more use out of him than him being dead, but everyone's gonna want to kill him anyway, so no one's gonna listen to me anyway. So whatever.
I'll listen to you. What's your argument? How do we get what you want accomplished?
My argument is simply he's no use to anyone dead.
Sure. So how do we keep him alive?
I mean, we could try and make it look like we accidentally killed him while trying to interrogate him, but then we'd have to have a way to smuggle him off the ship at some point. Also, probably a fake body.
Wait, do we need to smuggle him off the ship? We could just keep him in here.
They use this room.
I mean, I think the fake body's the bigger part. No one's just going to take our word that happened. They'd want to see him.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Let's see. What if?
And even if we, could put him into, we could do something that made it look like he was dead. He'd probably just get thrown over because that's what they do.
Well, why didn't that one goblin get killed? Or
Because
the
he only
kobold?
was accused of stealing between creepers, not starting a fire.
Maybe Red buys him. Do you think you can make that argument? You want to own this man, so we can't kill him? We've got all this money.
I'm just glaring at Wendy.
Raazu cocks her head at this.
I don't think they're gonna keep him alive on this ship, though. Even if that's a thing we could do.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, sorry, buddy. I tried.
He
We'll
continues
do our
weeping.
best and we'll make our argument. Maybe the captain will think of a use for you.
Maybe.
So what's next?
Well, I think we do need to tell the captain what we learned.
Yeah.
Reporting to the captain's quarters. And he brings you into his mess. What do you tell him?
I think pretty much just the straight facts.
Do you make that noise first, though?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Dragonborn have lips?
They do have a tongue, so it's an equivalent thing.
And then basically our extrapolation from that, which is that either Runthiel has two abilities, one of which is locking a door, or someone else has two abilities, one of which is being Runthiel.
He says this is a grave accusation.
We
And
know.
Wendy
we
shakes her
know.
head again. She says, I'm not accusing anyone. I'm telling you what we learned.
He asks, what would you have him do?
Have you, that list you gave us with everyone's abilities, did you verify that? Is that all accurate?
It's accurate to the best of his knowledge, but given that we're dealing with magical secrets here, it would not be impossible for somebody to be hiding things.
Basically, my
Raazu-
question is, did you see everyone do the thing that they said they could do on that list?
I believe he has. Let me just run down my list and make sure that that's true. In Runthiel's case, he definitely has. He's seen her use that mending ability.
Mm-hmm.
He's verified Sweetie Birds. He probably hasn't directly observed Scampers, but he's heard enough, like, rumors and hearsay amongst the men that it's kind of gotten back to the captain that the Scampers will go about invisible from time to time. C openly uses her ability daily. Yashnar's, of course, he is certainly seen to. And that leaves Aldosh and Noakes, both of which he would have witnessed firsthand. So yeah, he's able
So
to
either
confirm
someone
that.
has a second ability. And judging by our own tattoos, nothing has changed about them from the first time we saw them, right? Like, there's no indication that we've gained new abilities.
Except for Red's and
Except for
Raazu's
Red's.
being replaced.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think my tattoo's still in place. It's just these aren't the original lips I started.
Raazu stops for a second, then realizes, oh, do you think that somebody could have changed like us did after the captain has verified their abilities?
I mean, I
And-
still...
Wendy kind of shrugs. He says that's possible. It would seem more likely, however, that someone just similar to us gained a second ability.
Yeah, I think it's much more likely that someone figured out the ways to find spells outside of what they could naturally do.
Like,
Because we know that's the thing that can happen. And Captain, if you did not already know that can happen, that's the thing that can happen.
He takes note of that. This is definitely new information to him. That being said, Adrex, I mean, you specifically did watch Runthiel do her thing
Yep.
earlier today.
I did.
Runthael came to me when I was convalescing after Raazu kind of trails off for a second. And she said something strange to me, and I wasn't really sure about what it meant until it was right after you assigned her to look after me. And that was, she said that I would come to know someone. I'm not really too sure what it meant. And then she showed me her rune.
Then you see the captain looks surprised. He says, "You're talking about our carpenter, the fucking hammer."
Yeah. Remember, you had Adrex came to you, and you assigned Runthael to look after me when I came back on board. She
I recall.
says very awkwardly.
I've never heard of Runthael opening up to another crew member in that way. Are you sure you're not mistaken? This wasn't a hallucination, bumbling around that skull of yours, coming back from the dead and all?
No, it definitely happened.
And Wendy looks over at Raazu and says, "Do you think you could get any more information out from her?"
I can try.
Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't want it to be Runeveal, and that might be coloring my thinking.
No, I think that's actually... I think Runedale has been... I think that affects all of our judgment in this case, because I even, despite lack of sentimentality, have sort of the same opinion.
I'm just having a hard time believing... I'm just having a hard time believing that Runefield would pay someone to throw a torch in through a window. If she wanted you dead, she would just kill you with a fucking hammer.
I mean, to be fair, the man we have in the brig is probably the least competent assassin I've ever met, and that is a new low bar.
And so your suggestion that Runefield believes that you'll speak to some other force leads me to my third thought, which is that possibly whoever is doing this doesn't know they're doing it. Someone has come under the sway of some sort of power.
Don't say ghost.
Being taken advantage of.
Don't say ghost.
Some force.
The captain does confirm that we have abandoned the theory that Mr. Snee is to blame.
No, but I still think he might be of an advantage. I mean, someone's setting fires on his ship.
He'll be good to know that he's been exonerated.
And Wendy will look around the room and say, by the way, someone's starting fires on the ship, so if you want to help us out with this one...
You know, I didn't actually get Snee in my notes when I, let me add, and I'll pull out the notebook and add his name to the list.
Someone remind me what Ned Noakes' ring does again.
Enemies abound?
Yeah.
Which is a spell.
It's like a fuck up your mind, make you attack your friend's illusion, I think. Or enchantment.
But the dream that we had at the outset showed that he was one of the people who would be betrayed, along with the rest of us, except for Red.
I thought he deliberately wasn't in the dream.
Yeah, he wasn't in the dream. The rest of us, except for Red. Because again, to review, it was the captain, the navigator, Ned Noakes, Yashnars, and then Raazu, Adrex, Birdie, and Wendy.
Yeah, that's correct.
And then the last was this quintessence thing.
The captain asks if you have any more use of the man in the brig. Is he going to be of any assistance in getting to the bottom of this caper?
Yeah, we think he might know something that he doesn't know he knows. We'd like to keep him around for a while longer, if that's alright.
I just think he's more useful to everyone. He's just a schmuck. You should put him in the... You should make him row, like you did with Red.
He said that he had a particular use for Red. Yes, make no mistake. The men will not like the fact that an arsonist is being kept alive.
Raazu nods.
When do we next hit port?
He says the next time that he's going to drop anchor will be to let you guys off at the coast, so you can begin your overland journey towards the mountains and secure his favor from this red dragon that you owe him.
Right.
But he was hoping to wrap up this business with the trader before then.
Raazu nods. I'd like to see it done myself.
Red dragons. That's the fire ones, right?
As far as
Maybe we tell the crew it's an ironic punishment. We're gonna give him to the dragon.
And the captain says he would prefer the crew know nothing about this dragon.
as far as Rolf is concerned, I really don't think he's of use to anyone.
If we can't find a use for him, that means we failed.
Very poignant way of looking at things.
Is
Just
Navigate
saying.
here with us?
Muck.
All right, how much? How much would the crew need to be bribed before they'd be willing to have him sit in the brig overnight, or however long it'll be? Like, what shares of the treasure once you dole it out as if he were a spoil of war sold?
Oh, he says that if he tells the crew that Rolf is not to be executed, then they will see it done. But this is not a string that can be tugged at repeatedly. If he gives the order to leave the man untouched in the brig, that'll be... He doesn't expect any kickback from that, but these kinds of orders over a period of time will erode a crew's trust in their captain.
This is DM speaking, saying shit or get off the pot. Is that what I'm getting here?
He would never.
I mean, Adrex has made his case, and it has yet to be listened to, and doesn't expect it to be listened to now, so...
Captain Eyes has no personal stake in Rolf's fate. He knows that Rolf's not the traitor he's looking for.
For what it's worth, Adrex, I mean, when it comes to morals, I'm actually going to you in this case. Agree. It sounds like it's not feasible. But, I mean, like I said, we could try and buy the crew off, but it sounds like Captain thinks he's just going to get shanked in the middle of the night anyway. We could set up a guard. It's pretty much the only way we'd keep the man alive. If you want to do the day shift, I will do the night shift.
The captain does confirm that if you want to take Rolf under your protection, he'll give those orders, but it will also be up to you to take responsibility for any of his actions afterwards.
I mean, we'll keep him in the brig until we reach land, and then I really don't want to make another trip to the southern land. That's where humans belong.
And
Where are we going to end up?
And Wendy just shrugs and says, I feel like if we're going to use our resources to save someone, I'd prefer it to be someone that didn't throw a torch on the ship.
I don't
Yes.
think it's going to cost us any resources aside from a couple of nights without sleep. I'm willing to do that. Adrex,
Yeah, I'm willing to
you've
do that,
convinced
too.
me. All right, I'll do that. I'll watch the brig over the... Yeah, we'll just
We haven't
keep him
done
manageable.
schmuck things.
We'll feed him. I will make sure his food and water aren't poisoned, and you and I'll split up, just keeping watch over the brig.
The captain kind of sardonically says that your compassion for your newfound pet is very admirable, but the more pressing concern might be what you plan to do about Runthale. Are you going to question her? Do you think it was someone else pretending to be her? And if so, how are you going to make that deduction?
Well, let's look at our two options, which is one, it was someone pretending to be Runthiel, and two, it was Runthiel. If we go and question her, Red, you'll know if she's lying to us, right?
Maybe. She's pretty terse. It might be hard for me to read her.
Well, we're gonna just have to hope, because if we question her and she is the one who caused the problem, maybe we can figure that out. And if she's not, at that point, Wendy just shrugs. We figure something else out from there.
Agreed.
The captain tells you he leaves it in your hands for now. He doesn't have anything to add as far as anybody's particular guilt. He's never been given any particular reason to distrust Runthiel, but he does know there's a traitor aboard the vessel. He says if you bring him your word that she's the one, he'll act on it.
We're not going to do anything until we're absolutely 100% sure.
That's the thing, is I'm confident in our ability to deal with someone if they come at us openly. So I would rather question Runthiel openly. If she turns on us, we'll have our answer.
The captain thinks you'll find Runthiel difficult to rile in that way.
Also, I don't know about you, Wendy, but I would never try to come at us openly. If I had to deal with a group like us, I'd do everything in my power to make sure that they never realized I was the one doing it.
Right, which is why we have you. If she comes at us subtly, Wendy just kind of gestures in his direction. At some point, we just have to trust in our own abilities. And if that trust is misplaced, well, it won't be our problem anymore.
The captain asks if you have any direct evidence other than Rolf's begging and pleading, pointing to Runthiel.
Marks on the hinges from the magical ceiling. I mean, alright, if you really want to try and... So whoever it is, they're trying to get me and then really slowly murder me? So maybe we just lay a trap. Maybe I just, go to sleep tomorrow. After I take my shift,
on your own?
watching the brig. Yep. Go off my own in a room that can be easily sealed and ambushed? Again, I've never met an assassin this incompetent before. And I've met some bad assassins.
Raazu nods.
So if you want to be subtle, that's what I would do. I would lay a trap and use myself as the bait.
Captain Eyes seems to grin at the idea.
So what's the plan for laying this trap?
Just make sure that when I'm, I'll just go to the room and go to sleep and make sure that nobody's watching me.
How did they try to kill you the first time in the
With quiet. Maybe next time they'll get all their way up to a needle.
So wait.
No poison, just a needle. Because it started with quiet and then smoke.
Maybe you were thinking about this incorrectly. Because you're saying someone got you trapped in a room and then tried to kill you badly.
Twice.
What would they be accomplishing if they weren't trying to kill you? What if they were trying to do something else?
I mean, it could be some sort of dream state they were trying to induce between the silent smoke. I suppose either could potentially alter one's consciousness. Sometimes you've waken up. I mean, we've all woken up from weird dreams before.
But smoke from a fire just kills you. It doesn't... Inhaling the smoke from fire just kills you.
If we could keep the fires aboard the ship to a minimum, I would much appreciate it.
I don't think the would-be assassin quote.
I mean,
would be stupid enough to try fire a second time.
Yeah, the actual what they're trying to accomplish is a pretty good question, because I think anyone would know that throwing a lantern into a room with me, even if I can't... I mean, I just climbed out the port, the lantern came in. Even if I had stayed asleep, there would be enough ventilation in there through those portals that it would have been pretty unlikely I actually died. So yeah, maybe we just let it play out and see if there's some sort of message or something.
Well, to be clear, if you had not woken up when you did and doused the fire, eventually you would have just burned to death.
Yeah.
Locked in that room. It wouldn't have been the smoke that got you. Yeah, the captain gives you his leave to conduct the investigation in whatever means necessary. He asks you to keep him abreast of any new information you find and let him know if you need any particular assistance.
There is one other matter, Captain, not related to anything my companions and I are dealing with.
You don't mean to tell me that we're about to launch into an unrelated tangential topic.
A little.
That doesn't sound like us.
I have this scroll I acquired from a drow, but I can't read it. And I was hoping to exchange some magical knowledge for translation.
What scroll are we talking about here?
The one from Cadrell that shows how to make that radiant poison found on her?
Do you present him with the scroll?
Yeah.
Sorry, I did that in the microphone.
So, I had a different rune when everyone else was branded, and I had it exchanged in the Feywild. Actually, same rune, new lips. I was hoping I could give you that rune and the description of what it does, and you could tell me how to make this poison.
He says he could provide you an accurate translation of the scroll, but he personally doesn't know much about poisons. Whether or not the information would be useful, he can't be sure, but he's happy to do what he can. And he's, of course, happy to take any information you'd like to trade him.
Yeah, I'll draw him the message rune and give him that.
And the captain stands up, and he looks you all over. I do have to admit, things went a lot more smoothly when we were raising our hands before we spoke. Then he exits the room. Which, of course, is your cue to leave the captain of this mess.
Well, it's night, so I guess it's my shift next to the brig.
Yeah.
Adrex, relieve me in the morning.
You got it, buddy.
If you're going into the brig, make sure to close the door. And Wendy hands him back the horn.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, if you need anything.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should use that.
Alright, so 2 blows quickly for save me. 1 blow for this is alright, let's see where it goes. Like 1 blow is the notice that that something's happening. 2 is this is very bad.
You got it.
Alright.
Roger.
Who's Roger?
I don't know.
We're not doing this.
Is anybody else doing anything tonight other than standing guard at the brig?
No, I'm gonna take a nice nap.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
Roger's
someone will
gonna
try to
come
kill
in.
me and I'll figure something out.
Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe they'll try to kill all of us.
Do you tell Rolf that he's been given a stay?
No. I don't think Fred would think to do that.
Damn, son. That's rough.
Cold-blooded.
Okay. Those of you who are
You can
sleeping...
live with the guilt for almost assassinating. Okay, for incompetently attempting to assassinate me and also maybe
Trying
burn
to burn down the whole ship.
Like, I think a night or 2 in the brig thinking he's going to die is a fitting punishment.
Everybody go ahead and take the benefits of a long rest, unless you are standing post outside of the brig.
Yeah.
By the next morning, word has gotten around. I mean, Noakes doesn't like the idea at all, but that the captain has given Rolf a stay of execution, and that he will be turned over to your custody when the ship next makes port. Word amongst some of the crew is that Raazu wants him personally to torture. This confirms this blood-drinking suspicion that some of the men have.
Well,
If it
That's
intimidates
workable.
them to stay out of our way, I am all willing to play into that.
So you just like walking around and like lead into people and just lick your lips, or
Nothing so crass or obnoxious, no.
does anybody approach Rumthael the next day?
Well,
During the day, I'm going to be sleeping, and Adrex is going to be.
yeah, I'm gonna swap places.
Okay, so Adrex can take his
so
place at the
let's
brig.
just leave you and me, Wendy.
sleeping in big air quotes. So I hope nothing seals the door and tries to ineffectively kill me.
At least be more effective about it this time.
Yeah, I guess that leads us to go to talk to Runethale.
Were we planning on going to talk to Rinthale?
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, and you have to wake her up if it's during the day.
No, we'll wait till night.
Yeah.
Wait till night.
Yeah. Flag her down.
Red.
Mm-hmm.
You hear what sounds like pained gasping coming from the next room. Like a sound.
Got him.
And it wakes you up.
Try the door
And it won't
to
open.
that room. Is the bell trap still there?
The bell trap is still here, yes. It's still in place.
Disarm the bell trap?
Disarm the bell trap, take it down.
That's a thieves' tools of... Oh, only a 9.
I mean...
So I set it off.
and it rings. You are now alert that somebody is trying to come through your door. And you realize that it's you.
Birdie
Is
makes
the other door
traps.
open?
This door is open, yes.
If I go through this door and try and open the door to the alchemist chamber?
And you try it, but it won't open. It's sealed, just like the previous doors were.
Out through the porthole, rig my way around in through this port.
Climbing around and coming in here?
Yeah.
Okay. Looking in this room, and I mean, this room is still in somewhat disarray. Rhodos has... He has kind of a lot more accoutrements that will fit in one room. So he has, like, stuff stacked on top of stuff. And he has a bed in one corner that's a little too small for his frame, but he does insist on sleeping on a feather mattress in a frame. And you see him currently laying on it, and there are bands stretched across his body. One across his neck, one across his torso, holding his arms down, and one across his ankles, which are kind of dangling over the edge of this feather bed. And some kind of force is pulling on these leather straps, and you can see he's struggling to breathe.
They're leather.
Yes.
Take out a knife and try and slice the one off.
Okay. And you take your knife and you slice through it, and he just gasps out, "Dear fuck, what is going on?"
You're gonna have some new equipment here to alchemize on as soon as I get this off. And I'm gonna try and remove the second one without cutting it. The one around his torso.
It's not tied or bound to anything. It's as though there's an invisible force on either end of the strap pulling down on it with great weight. And it would have to be great weight, because remember, he's one of the Yikari. He's one of the Yak folk. He's a big dude.
Can I... So, this is just over the top of him? It's not wrapped around him the whole...
No, it's not actually wrapped around or affixed to anything. It's just like
Does
somebody...
it reach the floor?
No, not quite.
Yeah, let's grab the nearest heavy... There has to be something here that looks heavy that would break a thing. And
Lots.
let's break the legs
And
legs out from under his bed.
As soon as you reach for it, he says, "No, not that! That's incredibly expensive!"
What here isn't?
And his eyes dart around the room, and he says, "I don't seem to be in any other immediate danger."
Alright, let's take out the thieves' tools and remove the legs from the bed by taking out the screws, or whatever.
So what's the plan here to try to, like...
I'm gonna remove the legs from his bed so his bed lowers and see if that lets slide out under it.
No, these straps are being pulled pretty tightly. He's not going to be able to slide out, even if his bed tilts over.
Alright, well I'm gonna have to cut the other two, so... Unless you have some way to, study the magic while you're bound.
And he assures you that he doesn't.
Alright, well let's cut the other two.
You cut the other straps, and as soon as you cut through them, whatever magic was holding them in disengages, and they kind of just fall to the floor.
Let's look on the hinges of this door for any symbols like the ones that Adrex pointed out in our room.
The hinges on that door, I believe, are on the other side.
Does it open from the side?
It'll open from either side, but it opens into your room.
Yeah. No, but I mean, can I open... If I try and open the door right now, does it open?
No, it's sealed. It's
Shimmying
shimmying around.
Yep.
Okay.
Don't go anywhere.
So as you're leaving, he's setting about gathering up these leather straps and taking them over to one of his workbenches.
And take a look at these.
Yeah, and examining the hinges on this side, you do see the little marks now that Adrex is pointing them out to you.
I'll come through. Can I open his door now? Can I knock and he'll open it?
You try to knock on it?
Yeah. Do I have to go out through the portholes again? Can I just go into his room normally like a normal person?
No, you can leave your room and come out into the hallway, but his door is sealed.
Both of his doors. Okay. Are the hinges on this door in our room?
They are. No, they'd be on his side of the door. They'd be in his room.
All right. So, Rhodos, both the doors are sealed. There's a sealing magic on the hinges that has a. I'd like you to inspect it, but I'm going to have to break one of the doors in order to get you to the other one.
He tells you that that's most interesting. He walks over and he asks you to show him on the hinge, and when he does, he's no, I see it.
Oh, really? Okay.
And he goes
You know
over
what
and he
that
gets his spectacles and some little alchemical tools and comes over. He says, I believe with some kind of solvent, I may be able to break the pin free of the hinge without damaging the pin itself.
All right.
And he sets to work doing that.
Well, yell if you get strangled again. Go back to sleep.
Going back to sleep.
Yeah.
Everybody will find out about it when they come. When we do the shift change, they'll find out about it.
Okay, was anybody else doing anything during the day while Red's sleeping?
Nothing exceptional.
Okay.
No.
I'm kind of trying to keep an eye on Runthiel's room.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like, if she's actually in there sleeping, I want to keep track of her movements.
Yeah, as far as you
Because-
know, she's in there.
I'm hoping some crazy shit goes down and she's in there, and I can go, yeah. I know for sure she was in there.
Sweetie Bird affirms that she had her meal at the end of her shift and then retired to her quarters.
If I listen at the door, can I hear her in there?
You can't hear anything in there. I mean, you don't hear... She's not snoring away or anything, if that's what you mean.
No, that's fine.
Okay. Adrex,
Yes.
you hear some strange talk. I was on the quarterdeck earlier. You're overhearing a conversation between two of the men. And he heard some scuttling and looked down, and he saw the Yuan-ti climbing back and forth between two of the portholes. 2 or 3 times.
Adrex thinks about what he just heard. No, it seems normal.
He was just sleep climbing. Okay, so the shift change occurs at the end of the
I
day.
was gonna say, Adrex, he takes this opportunity to go back to his Arcana studies
Okay.
with his butt plopped in front of the door.
Nobody comes down to the brig to...
Excellent.
Yeah, nobody... There's no activity regarding Rolf during the day. And then at nights, the shift change happens, as it is wont to do.
So I'll tell everyone about what happened with Rhodos during the shift during the shift change. I think we'd all probably meet down in the brig so we don't leave the place unattended.
By the time you wake up, Red, he has in fact used some kind of solvent to destroy the hinges on his door.
Oh, just destroy them. Okay.
Yeah, he just destroyed the hinges and carefully pulled out the pins. 2 of the pins he has sitting on one of his work desk, and you don't see the 3rd. You have a clear view into his room because his door is just toppled over. Just has it set aside.
Did you note down what the rune looked like?
It didn't look like a rune in the sense that you guys have runes. It just looked like some kind of like arcane marking. It didn't look like script necessarily.
So it wouldn't have looked like the thing that you saw from Runthiel? Or was that also just sort of an arcane marking?
That was just, you're talking about when...
The mending.
The mending? No, that was a similar marking, but Adrex couldn't be certain it was the same mark or not.
Yeah.
Sorry, what's next? You see 2 of the 3 pins sitting on his workbench when you wake up.
So, when do you know when he got locked in his room?
I was asleep. I didn't wake up until I heard him struggling against the bands, which, by the way, would be much more effective than smoke or silence.
So I don't think Runthia left her room during that time.
You didn't see her there? Well, Do we still want to question her then?
I think.
I mean, I guess the question is it going? Is whatever this is going?
We missed the last bit of that.
To us,
Yeah.
multiple
Can you say that
times.
again?
That's what I said again, please.
Is whatever this is going against someone who is us now because they failed to kill me several times?
I don't quite know what you mean. Are you asking, did someone change to someone else as a target?
Should we be worried about people who aren't me? Would it be foolish to continue to think that it would be, they'll come after me and we'll just catch them?
I think, yeah. I think that this indicates we need to be more proactive. And I think that we'll learn something from talking to Runthia. Either she'll recognize whatever symbol this is and she can tell us who did this, or, I don't know, she'll up her efforts to kill us, in which case we can try to catch her doing that.
Raazu nods. Says, alright, let's go talk to Runthia then.
Are all four of you going at once?
I think that's probably wise.
Well, someone needs to keep an eye on the brig.
Adrex can do that.
Okay.
We can just bring her down to the brig. Oh, okay.
Adrex is intimidated of Ms. Fucking Hammer.
Ajax loves the brig.
So you're going to confront Runthia in her shop or somewhere else?
I think in her shop makes the most sense.
In her shop, yeah.
Okay. And you do find her in there, going about her work. When she came up on deck, she has seen that Rhodos' door has been dismantled. But she hasn't yet set out to start repairing it. And again, I mean, you can't read any sort of aggravation on her face. This is just her job.
Yeah.
Every day it's some new door. And the three of you approach. And she just looks at you, back and forth between each of you.
Runthia.
We've considered just removing all of the doors from the ship to prevent this from keeping happening. How long would that take?
And she grimaces at the thought of it, but she doesn't say anything.
Like, can that be done tonight?
She realizes you're not making a joke and that you're making an actual inquiry. She kind of clears her throat.
Red.
The captain would never give such orders.
Stop with the humor. You're not very good at it.
I thought it was funny.
I thought it was actually maybe something we should do, but...
No, I mean, I also 100% agree. It seems like we have a door problem.
So, I realized I was a little bit possibly addled when we first spoke when I came back aboard the ship, Runthia, but I wanted to know what you meant by your words to me about having a challenge set before me or something. I didn't quite understand what you meant.
She says the captain ordered her to look over you while you were convalescing, but that you didn't exchange words.
See, I don't remember that.
Can I make an insight on that?
Yeah, I'll give you a red chance to make an insight on that.
It's 27.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a 21.
Runthiel's basically impossible to read. Her demeanor doesn't change at all. And it makes a lot of sense. She's not a person that would go out of her way to speak to anyone. I mean, Red, you had to work alongside her several nights in a row And the most conversation you ever got out of her was just wordlessly eating, like enjoying a meal with her.
Right.
That being said, Raazu's not prone to hallucinations. If you had to bet on one or the other being true, you would bet on Raazu.
Oh, absolutely. The question that Wendy has in her mind is, did Ruthiel talk to Raazu, or was it someone disguised as Ruthiel, or did Ruthiel not know that she talked to Raazu? She knows Ruthiel's wrong. Like, someone talked to Raazu.
Mm-hmm. If Ruthiel's lying, it would just be a matter of she doesn't want anyone else to know what she and Raazu talked about, essentially.
Yeah. And Wendy
Ruthiel
takes out the scrap that has the symbol from the door jam on it,
Mm-hmm.
and says, "This is what was holding the door shut. Do you recognize it?"
She glances at it. She says that if you want... Well, she doesn't say much of anything, actually. She just shakes her head. She just says... She points to Rhodos. Says, perhaps the alchemist would know.
And...
Raazu,
Oh, go ahead.
Raazu folds her arms over her chest, then says, "You showed me your room. You came into the surgery, showed me your room. I want to see it again."
Ruthiel takes a step back away from Raazu and shakes her head. She says the captain will never give that order either.
And Wendy turns towards Ruthiel and says, "Actually, the captain has a bit of a problem right now. Someone on the ship is causing havoc and trying to kill off crew members, and we're trying to figure out who it is. We don't want it to be you. But if we tell the captain that we need to know this information, he will give that order."
She says, then I suggest you do that.
And Wendy kind of shakes her head and says, so there's nothing you could tell us about this?"
And she just glares through you. And says
"Then
nothing.
you probably want to follow us, because we're going to go to the captain and secure that order."
She doesn't make a move.
And Wendy just kind of like sighs and then says, "Here, Raazu, do you feel like you can handle yourself for a few minutes? Red and I will leave and go talk to the captain. Ruthiel, if you feel more secure talking to Raazu by yourself, then feel free to do so."
Raazu nods, looks to Ruthiel.
And Wendy
There's no
grabs
change on
Red
her face.
and goes to leave.
Where do you two go?
I don't think we're lying. Like, we're gonna just go to the captain, let him know what's going on,
Okay.
and then in a few minutes, if we hear from Raazu that she wasn't able to find out anything more, we'll ask him to step in.
I mean, why even bother going to the captain? We'll just tell her that the captain gave the.
Why even bother lying?
So are the two of you going to the captains or not?
Wendy is going to go to the captain. Wendy is genuinely going to leave.
Okay.
Is
Red going with her?
No, Red will just stay out on deck. So
Stay
we
out
can
on
see
deck.
both rooms from here.
Do you close the door to the workshop when you leave?
Yeah.
Raazu, what's your next move? The door closes and Ruthiel turns and just glares at you. She's looking through.
Raazu.
She's doing her stony faced.
Raazu is stony facing her right on back.
Just the camera cuts back and forth between the two of them.
No, it's a split screen with just the eyes.
Flash right down the middle.
Does Raazu have all her equipment with her?
She's got armor and whip, and that's about it.
An armor and a whip?
Yep.
Roll initiative.
Here we go.
See, I told you guys we could just make this more obvious. Raazu, if you die again, I just wanted you to know this was actually a compliment that I was trusting you to take care of yourself.
Did you really get an 11?
I did.
You two stand there. She's just glaring at you for what seems like a very long time. Then, with incredible speed, she reaches back for the wall, grabs her fucking hammer off the wall, and moves forward to swing it at you. But you win the initiative because I did rule that players win all ties. Even though this scene would be way better if she got to act first.
Save dexterity or strength, your choice. DC 15.
Oh, wait, actually, Birdie's on 26. We gotta wait for him to go first.
Oh, right, okay.
And he can't be surprised. So anywhere in the world, anyone roll initiative.
Birdie's down in the cargo hold, startling
I had
away.
a campaign where at level 2 a dude got a whip of warning and made me so angry the whole campaign.
What are you doing to her?
Nature's Wrath gonna have the spooky rusty manacles.
Okay. And she can
Strength
use
or-
strength or dexterity?
Yes.
14.
Failed. She
Okay.
is restrained.
So, how do these manacles manifest themselves?
They spring out of the floor, out of the walls, whatever, and just grab onto her.
Okay, and she's what? She's restrained?
Yes.
Is there an
Just
escape
psych
DC?
locker.
What's that? It can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns.
Okay. Now you see anger cross her face. Is there a size restriction on that?
No, it doesn't say.
Okay.
I can double check the player's handbook, but
You should probably double check the
Doesn't say
player's
that.
handbook and make sure there's not a size restriction on that.
Yeah.
I mean, drugger or medium.
let's see here. Paladin, Oath of the Ancients, Nature's Wrath, choose Channel Divinity, blah 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 blah. Teacher creature within 10 feet that you can see. Strength of Desire. No, it doesn't have any.
Okay.
It has no size restriction.
But yeah, for the first actual time, you see anger wash across her face. And so she makes that save on your turn, and she gets to make it at the end of each of her turns.
Yes. And before my turn ends, I'm going to pound on the door.
Help! It's the fucking hammer.
Hopefully, Red hears that.
Well, Red's out on deck. He's not in the hallway. Oops, I have the wrong book. I gotta go over to the shelf. Greetings from the tunnel!
I thought it was the shelf, not the tunnel.
Well, the shelf's in the
that's what
tunnel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
I grabbed the wrong book today when I got my big stack of books.
The story about just removing the doors just reminds me of when I told my boss about the escape room that I went to
Mm-hmm.
and how we solved it. And he was like, "Yeah, you solved it because you're a bunch of software engineers. You sent some hardware guys in there. They try the door and go, well, there's your problem. Door's stuck."
That sounds almost as funny as a joke my father-in-law told once. When I got a Rubik's Cube for Christmas, and he's like, "Oh, I can solve that. I can just take all the stickers off and put them back on."
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Crushed it.
He
Crushed it.
he got me. I felt really dumb. I'm like, man, I've been just turning them all these years. Don't know what I'm doing. All right. And you're pounding on the door back there?
Yeah, I'm going to pound on the door. Hopefully Red hears me. If not, then this will get more interesting.
It's definitely going to get interesting.
You believe in you?
She begins suddenly growing. Her entire size begins enlarging. And after a few moments, she is, in fact, a large-sized creature.
Oh, right.
Oh, boy.
Drugger.
She's not wearing her
Yeah.
armor, but she does get to make strength saves at advantage now. How does an 18 do you?
That passes, so she breaks free.
And that requires her action, right?
Yes, that is the end of her turn.
And she breaks It happens at the end of her turn. Okay, so it's not an action. It's just repeat the save at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, you see her enlarge, and for a second you're thinking, this is fine. The vines will hold. Osram wouldn't fail me.
The shackles.
Oh,
will hold.
shit. And then, are they shackles, or what are they?
They are actually shackles, yes.
Okay.
Like ghosty, creepy shackles.
But then she just reaches forward and snaps them. And a moment ago, you were kind of scared she was going to grab her warhammer and beat you with it. And now you're
That's
still
just gonna
kind of
seal the
scared about
deal.
that, but now she's twice your size. Fortunately, she's not blocking the door, and it's back to your turn.
Disengage, flee the fuck out of the room.
Disengage and flee?
Yep.
You'd like to, but she's got Sentinel.
I finally did it.
Oh, you monster! You monster!
And also, I will point out she's not twice the size. It's like a square cube rule.
She's 40 times the size. Dwergar can be whatever I say they are. I've only got a 15 to hit you.
Miss.
Miss, okay. So, you blow the door open and head out into the hallway. Where do you run to? Let's actually get some pips on the map
Out to
here.
the deck.
Out to the deck?
Yep.
Okay. Where to? On the deck.
Find red.
I mean, Red's standing on the deck, but I mean, there's squares on the deck, and you have a tile that you should be moving here. To...
Could you shrink me just a little? I'm a little bit too big for these squares. There we go.
Raazu comes out on the deck looking real spooked.
Yeah, Red, you see the door open up, and Raazu tears out onto the deck.
That's not great.
Is that the end of Razu's turn?
Should I roll initiative?
Let's see if Razu's ending her turn first.
Yeah.
Okay, and looking back, nobody's following you when you run out onto the deck.
Say to Red, she went for her weapon. I stopped her for a couple of seconds.
And a few seconds pass, and Rundiel does not come barreling out of the door.
Who else is on deck right now? During a
Several
shift
of
change?
the crewmen. You know that Scampers is up in the crow's nest, and just a few moments ago, you saw Wendy disappear back into the captain's quarters.
Okay.
But so far, it doesn't look like anybody else has noticed that something crazy is going down. All that's happened so far is Razu's tore ass out onto the deck. And yeah, nobody's chasing you. What happens next?
We'll wait and see how Wendy gets.
So, Wendy, you're just going into the captain's quarters and telling him what?
I'm telling essentially what's going on, and that if we should head back over there, and presumably Raazu will meet us outside and let us know whether or not we need to take this any further. But it seems like she was definitely lying to us about something, because she said that she never spoke to Raazu.
But Raazu maintains that they had spoken.
And Wendy nods and says, and I've never known Raazu to be a liar.
He goes into some of his personal effects, and he comes out with a blob of charcoal. And Raazu and Red, standing out on deck, the captain and Wendy appear from the door. He sees the two of you, and he hails you across the deck, bids you come over.
Approach.
I mean, Red was going to move over into the room, but I think I'll just stay right here and keep an eye on this area.
Okay.
So did you get anything?
And I'll
Red,
nod to Raazu.
standing at that, this door here is open that Raazu's blown out of. All that happens in the next few moments is you hear the door to the workshop close.
Okay.
The captain hands Raazu this charcoal. It says, if you're able to recreate the rune that you say Runthiel showed you. I believe that would be evidence in your favor, yes?
Raazu nods. The problem is I don't have that rune.
Oh,
handy,
that's
I
too
don't
bad.
think.
I mean, you were on a lot of drugs. Like, you just come back from the dead, and
I think.
I think
Oh, we
if you
didn't give
scroll
her
up
any
and
drugs.
if
Oh,
you
no.
scroll up in party chat, you might be able.
Yeah,
to
no,
find
there it is. I see it. I see it.
I was gonna say, I thought you guys were doing a
It
good
is-
job of keeping all these.
It's just it was. I don't think it was on the spell workshop list.
Okay,
But-
so
so
I
yeah.
ate my beef jerky, and I sealed the bag up, and I put it on my other desk across the room, and now Edgar has just hopped onto my other computer chair and is sniffing at the bag, filled with spicy beef jerky he doesn't want to eat!
Oh, spicy beef.
I'm sorry, Raazu, please, you have the floor.
Raazu
Crazy dog.
takes the charcoal, scribbles this down.
Wait, where are you drawing here? Oh, you're up.
Up here on the north end of the
yeah,
table.
yeah.
Boop,
Man, I
boop,
thought I'd get
boop.
everyone to switch over to using Immiger.
Nope.
So disappointed.
This is more authentic anyway.
Edgar,
So,
I
yeah,
cannot
there-
believe you. Oh, stupid dog. I'm sorry. I yelled at my dog, but
Low quality trash dog.
and he tells you
Yeah, Rob.
that if she maintains that you didn't speak and she didn't show you her room, then it seems like the last piece of the puzzle is he'll just command her to show the room, and if it matches, then we have this all sewn up.
She might be a little upset right now.
What did you do?
She went for a weapon. I stopped her. She grew really large, and I left.
Yes, Dwergar can do that.
It's good
When
to
you went
know.
for a weapon, did you antagonize her more than we already had?
No. Like, we just stared at each other, and then she just went for her weapon. She went for the fucking hammer.
He holds up his hand. He says, why don't one of you go below deck, retrieve Adrex, and call for Ned Noakes?
And when do you head down?
Okay.
Raazu will go fetch Adrex.
Adrex, Raazu comes down, and she looks like she very narrowly got hit with a fucking hammer. You can just tell. The
See,
look
I
in
kinda
her...
look.
I nearly got hit with the fucking hammer.
Oh, you should stay down here with us. I'm telling Wolf jokes.
I'd rather hang, please!
Sounds great. We're captain's calling for the both of us upstairs.
Sorry. I was looking up
And Wendy, you go retrieve Noakes.
Yeah.
Okay, the lot of you then, the four of you, the captain, and Ned Noakes, head back to the door of the workshop. Ned Noakes pounds on the door. Says, Runthiel, there's a matter that you need to come out and clear up. The door opens and Runthiel is there, and you can, Raazu, you looking in, you can see the few tools and things that have been knocked askew when your chains grabbed her and lashed her to the wall. She is set back right. And she's also regained her regular size. When she turns around to face you, though, she's holding her warhammer in her hand. As she glares at you in the way that she does, and steps out of the room into the hallway, do any of you do anything before the captain gives the order?
No.
Okay. I always know those awkward pauses. I have to wait a second. Because that's the
Yeah,
kind
no.
of... that's usually where somebody jumps in.
Wendy is still thinking, like, well, maybe we just pissed her off and now she'll tell us what's actually going on.
The captain lays it all out. That Raazu has given testimony that Runthiel had a conversation with her and showed her her room. And then later Runthiel has said that she did no such thing. Raazu is now claiming that Runthiel then attempted to attack her. And of course, now we can clear the whole matter up if Runthiel displays her rune, and it doesn't match. Runthiel looks at the rest of you.
Raazu takes a deep breath and... Oh, go ahead.
Deep breath and what?
Raazu takes a deep breath and says, "Clearly, I owe you an apology."
What?
Runthiel says that she's beholden to no one aboard this ship but the captain. She says that though she has nothing to prove and that her loyalty is beyond reproach, she invites the captain into the workshop. She says she'll show the rune to him, but only in private.
I'll look at the captain.
Make
Raazu
an
looks
insight
very
check.
dubious at this.
Actually, Wendy, you can't, because you can't see his face. I'll allow the others to make an insight check if they like.
Adrex loves making insight checks.
Does he
Sure
think
he
it's
does.
pronounced Insigit?
That's probably what it is.
Okay.
16.
16?
Yeah.
Captain Eyes does not like this idea because he realizes that if what you're saying is true, he doesn't stand a chance against her if she's going to do something violent. However, she's technically right. She's not beholden to anybody but the captain, and this is not at all an unreasonable request. So you can see he's very uncomfortable with the situation, but he doesn't have any charge to deny her this request. So unless somebody does something about it, that's what's going to happen next.
Why doesn't she want
Captain, maybe you should go somewhere other than the work to inspect the...
And he looks at you, and you can't see his eyes because he's wearing his glasses.
Mm-hmm.
He asks, where would you suggest?
I mean, the chamber in front of the brig is private, but it doesn't have a door that can be sealed.
And at this point, some of the other men are starting to kind of crowd around in the hallway. You hear Rhodos's door opens as well. Runthiel speaks up next. She says, "Is now the captain taking orders from his guests?" And there's some murmuring amongst the assembled crew. And you see the captain bristle at the insinuation.
What is Ned Noakes doing? Because he's still here, right?
He's still here. He's not doing anything. You know that he won't without a direct order.
Okay.
Wendy goes in with him, because Wendy can't see anything.
Wendy is blind.
So you wouldn't be revealing anything to Wendy.
Runthiel looks at Wendy and says, "She uses that cloak of hers to see. I've watched her do it."
I don't think you can read with that, though, can you? Or you could just leave the cloak with me.
Yeah, and Wendy will take the cloak off.
Runthiel doesn't say anything, agree or disagree. She just steps into the workshop and leaves the door open. And Captain Eyes looks to Wendy, gives
And I
a
hand
little
Wendy
shrug.
my horn as she takes in exchange for the...
Are you trying to do this without Runthiel noticing?
Yeah, I can sleight of hand that.
Yeah, make a sleight of hand check. And it'll go against her passive perception.
That would be a 16.
A 16? So yeah, Wendy, you shuffle your cloak off. And Red kind of hands you the horn, and you tuck it up under one of your wings for the time being. The captain steps into the workshop.
Alright, and I'll step in after him.
Runthiel goes over, closes the door.
Raazu holds her breath during this.
Hey, I need some more of that solvent for hinges.